So they did it different, but did they do it better?
Greetings, Earthlings. I have assumed the form of Josh the RV nerd at Bish's RV.
At my hometown Coldwater, Michigan superstore to give you a new take on this sort of destination pretend tiny home camper thing that is kind of, it's like it's all over the place in the RV industry right now, and it's nice to see some manufacturers finally starting to take a little bit of a half twist on the concept. So we're looking at one that says Hideout. Springdale is the exact same thing. So when you check the links in the video description for pricing and availability, there will be two different links, one to Hideout, one to Springdale, but they're the same physical camper and the same cost and equipment, different exterior look. So what is this one doing slightly differently? Well, they sacrificed one of the chairs that a lot of the other builders do to give you a second entry door, a traditional camper door off the door side of the RV. And when they did that, they actually included on it a normal patio awning. And that is something that I've not seen almost any builder of this concept do yet. I've never seen any of them really do awning space. They also didn't force feed you a bunch of the pseudo residential appliances like a dishwasher, a washer and dryer, and maybe those are things you really like, and that's cool. There's other builders that make this that have those. They did leave it washer dryer prep. There is room if you want to add a dishwasher to it, but they also did something I think is very interesting. They gave it power stabilizers instead of manuals, and I'm going to get into why I think that's kind of weird, wacky, wild, and different as we go. I will say, I think they did the shower the best of any of these that I've seen personally to date. So there's good, there's bad, there's in between, and I want to cover all that. If you appreciate the fair and candid approach, hit that subscribe button, and let's go. So maybe you've seen RVs like this before, maybe you haven't. Just to give you a quick little overview here, you've got basically composite decking on this patio in the back, and they made theirs a little bit deeper than some other brands that I've seen. So if you do want to have a couple chairs or like a little bistro table set up on one side, you'd still have room to be able to walk in and out. Also, when we look up here, you can see you do have a couple lights, and you do have some power outlets in that upper left corner of the screen right now, and a coax hookup in case you want to bring or mount a TV out here or something. Now, if you take a look at the left side of the screen, I'm a little bit over 6 foot tall. That's going to come into play several times in this video, and you can see that I had plenty of room to be able to stand up there. So, you know, I was never feeling like I was going to bonk my head or anything. Now, we're going to come back to the exterior of the RV. I want to begin inside. And I thought it would actually make the most sense to come in through this side door, because this is one of the more unique qualities that they've incorporated into their version of this RV. Every other builder I've seen do this, basically there'd be some kind of weird free-floating recliner chair where I'm standing, and maybe you like it. I'm not saying weird because it's a bad chair. I'm just saying it just kind of feels like there was just space, and they're like, I don't know, throw a chair up there. And maybe that's all it took. Maybe that's fine. I don't know. But Keystone wanted to go about it a little bit differently. They didn't want to just copy and paste everybody else. And I'm going to give them credit for that. And maybe you don't like the side door, but I'm going to give them credit for trying something slightly different here. Now, if what you're looking for is something with a ton of glass and a ton of class, we may have found it. Holy crap, called the Batman. This thing is loaded with patio, glass coverage. But obviously, you know, one of the cool things here is you can't just walk straight out the rear patio. Now, currently, here in my Bish's RV parking lot, we're staring at the back end of a really nice looking Cougar over there.
Phrasing?
Oh, no. Yep. Some of you are going to have a field day with that sentence in the comment section. Obviously, I don't script my material, and I obviously also don't think before I speak. But moving on. Something I thought was interesting, I don't know if I like this or dislike it, it doesn't seem to have like a swinging gate to close off that patio. I thought that was interesting. Now, the steps off the back fold up and lock in place with a couple security pins for transit, so you don't have to worry about accidentally, dragging your steps going down the road. But if somebody does go by you honking and pointing in the back, you may want to pull over and, stop in this thing. Now, there's actually a level change. You step down into the kitchen and the bathroom space, and your living room is basically on the middle deck, and then you actually go all the way upstairs to both of your sleeping zones. This one is kind of set up to have a pair of queen beds. Now, you may notice all the windows that you can easily reach open for crazy good airflow. The windows that you can reach from the loft, open for airflow. These upper windows are basically just there for visual skylight. And you're thinking, how the crap am I ever going to reach the blackout roller shades up there? Good news, people who didn't ask. Those are power shades. The ones that you can't reach, there's a switch on the wall right over here between the door and the window, the bottom set of switches. You have a switch for the left or the right window. So depending on where the sun is on a given day, you can kind of, control that and customize it a little bit. Now, what's kind of crazy, like I personally, I feel I would have preferred to see a theater seat here, and I don't have the options list in front of me. Theater seat might be an available option, but between the two lofts and this, you have 3 separate adult-sized sleeping spaces. Now, this is going to be better for a shorter adult, and in case you're curious, the legs on these hide-a-beds can actually be height adjusted a little bit, because the way you're looking at it right now, unless you put your feet against the wall, your head is going to be lower than your feet, which is a great way to get a headache, trying to sleep like that all night. Most of those hide-a-beds are actually designed to be set inside a slide-out, which actually rests slightly above the floor. So in a normal RV, that would have worked fine, but in this weirdo one, it doesn't work in the most ideal fashion. And let's be real, that hide-a-bed is kind of cutting off the RV. I don't think it's intended to be a primary sleeping zone. It's just an available sleeping zone. But where do you eat? Well, you eat right there. Basically, this is a very, very similar mechanism to what you might find in a Brinkley Model Z fifth wheel, where the table actually pulls out and rolls out. So you just literally pull it out and then push it back in when you're done with it. So there's just enough space there for 1 or 2 of you to sit down and have a bite to eat. But what if you have guests? Well, it can pull out a little bit further, where maybe if you butt scoot up to the edge of the sofa, you could use it like a little bit of a dinesque, a little bit of a dining table, or if you bring along a couple extra little portable stools you could bust out when need be. I think you could actually probably just set those under the spiral staircase and have those out of the way when you're not using them. It's not going to be for everybody, but this camper's different, man. Sounded almost a little bit like Boomhauer from King of the Hill there. Like, man, this camper different, man. I swear, man, a little bit different, man. Anyway, so you might be going, yeah, but where's my television? Well, by default, it has none. And they haven't forced a projector or anything on you. You could definitely do a projector in this, I think, if you wanted. But they basically just set it up for more of a portable pedestal style table. This one's focused more in the windows and the cross breeze than the entertainment. Some people may not like that. I don't know. What I want to give them credit for, something I like, is how they actually included the ladder to get to the upper loft, because some brands don't. They give you this big loft sleeping potential storage space, and they give you no way of getting up there. Some brands also don't actually include the additional mattress. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually a 60 by 74 Camp Queen mattress. I could be wrong on that. But if you notice, if you look all the way over to the right here, there's space between the mattress and that tiny little pocket of basically no storage. If you wanted to, you could put, I think, a longer 80-inch bed in there. Now, they do give you TV hookups over there, kind of dead in the middle of the wall, which is sort of an odd position. But you may notice, like up top, we've got our central air up here. But this is 50 amp service. It is prepped and ready for a second air conditioner up there. And I nearly fell down this spiral staircase, missing a step just now. And I might have to go change my underwear. That was scary. Okay, good news. False alarm. But I'm also noticing with that mirror in the bathroom, straight across from the rear patio entry door, you can literally see yourself coming inside this thing.
Phrasing.
I have literally scared myself in a mirror in an RV before, so that's awesome. But let's be real about something. This spiral staircase, this RV is not for everybody. If you have mobility limitations, if you have a hitch in your giddy up, you got a bad knee or shoulder, something like that. If you're not pretty spry, I don't know if this is going to be the right RV for you, because you're going to have to go up and down that staircase, ladder, statter, whatever you want to call it, thing here. It is interesting. Like the Cherokee version, they give you a tiny little cabinet under the staircase. This one's a little more open air, which visually I think looks very aesthetically pleasing. but it's also kind of empty space. I think, though, if you were clever, you could actually put some broom storage, this big flat blank wall right there. I'd get one of those little broom hook holders and I'd find a way to get my brooms back there. I think that could actually work here. Now, in case you're curious, both of your lofts have a 800-pound capacity on them, and thankfully they give us these nice little warning stickers, and they give me this handy little thing to grab onto here, because at this point, you know, I'm trying to watch what's on camera and going up and down steps by using the force, like you know, Luke Skywalker is kind of what I'm doing here. Now, this upper loft is larger. Or the rear loft, rather, the upper loft. They're both upper lofts. I'm so stupid. This one's larger. And I kind of centered the mattress up directly under that window, because it feels like that gives you the most room to get around the bed off of either side, you know? But I also thought, because there's the extra room, if you wanted to put a king mattress up here, you could. I think getting a king mattress up here is going to suck, but you could absolutely do it. So first of all, I have a no shoes on the furniture policy, although I don't think I'm, oh yeah, hey, hold on. There's a tag right here, 60 by 74, there we go. So I have confirmed these are short queen beds, which doesn't surprise me because that's mostly what Springdale and Hideout use. I don't know how well you're able to see it off camera, but basically from my heel down, my feet are hanging off the mattress, and I'm not trying to cheat it. I don't have my head all the way against the wall. You see how there's room for my hand to move here? Because you're going to have a pillow under your head. Your head's not going to be all the way against the wooden headboard over here. And if it is, it's not going to be super comfortable. Now, what I'm wondering... Okay, I noticed something else. Downstairs, we have blackout roller shades. Up, you can't see those. Upstairs, we have pleated shades. I'll get you a better look at those in a minute. What I'm curious is, can I sit up in here? Oh! Hey! This is way better than I was expecting. I half expected to concuss myself up here. Okay, I see you, Hideout. Oh, hold on. So I just noticed why I, you know, could actually sit up here. I forgot that this RV has like a reverse profile opposite of like a toy hauler. It actually does slope down. So the rear loft, I don't think is quite as tall. Now I got to go find out. But as long as I'm up here, I do want to give you a quick little insight as to what storage space is up there. The cabinet on the left is much more shallow because I think that's where the holding tank stink pipes run up and ventilate. These other cabinets shooting from the hip, 8 inches deep, something like that. Yeah, I don't like climbing up this back loft. This one's not as fun. The spiral staircase ladder is one thing. The ladder that gets you back here, it's basically straight vertical, and I tell you, I don't know if I'd want to do it without shoes. It's not super barefoot friendly. First of all, I haven't even looked. I'm sure this is a super flattering camera angle, giving you all kinds of crevices, but something else occurs to me. I just realized that there's not light switches for the lights in these lofts. You have to get up here and clickety-clack everything on and off. I can see that not being fun for some folks. Also, yeah, this is not at all the same as the loft in the front of the RV. So, if you appreciate the candid, I do my own stunts realism here, you know, I could have been sneaky and shifty and not actually tried to size demo that rear loft. And I could have given you the impression that the back one was the same. If you just like how we shoot you straight, if you're new with us, subscribe. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to just keep shooting you straight. If you've returned, toss me a little like on the video or just be like, hey, good job, nerd. Or not, I don't know. The converter fuse box, it's definitely easy to get to, I suppose, right by the entry door here. I don't know, part of me says it feels kind of exposed, but part of me says I don't know that that's a problem either. So maybe I'm just looking for trouble with the mapping glasses after bonking my head in that rear loft a couple times. Now, over here is where they went about this a little bit differently. This is probably one of the biggest concentrations of different stuff on the inside of the RV. This is a 10 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge. Now, the thing is, a 12 volt compressor fridge literally still is a residential fridge. but some brands have given this a large fifth wheel sized residential refrigerator. I don't know how you feel about that. I think for this size of RV, that size of fridge seems like a reasonable ask, but that's my opinion, and it's your money on the line. So I'd be kind of curious to know what you think about this. Now, over here, they left you some power outlets on this countertop. So if you want coffee maker, you want griddle space, well, like what would you put here? Now, some other manufacturers who have built a layout like this, they have forced a dishwasher up here, which is cool for some folks. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they forced it, which is bad for you. But this one did it differently. We do have a little bonus drawer here. We've got a... Hey, what is going on? Okay, that got hung up on something. Lovely. Okay. We got a little kick of storage under there. Now this, if you notice, this is where you could install a combo washer dryer. Some folks really like those. Some folks have absolutely no use for them. They do at least prep it so that you could put one in if you were so inclined. Now, remember that you actually do step down. If you really count, there are 4 drawers. The bottom one is just kind of almost masked out of the way. So we have 5, like, utensil-sized kitchen drawers. There's a wide open space under the sink. You want a couple big trash cans or something, you absolutely have space for it. And it's a small oven, but it's a propane oven. You know, they didn't miss that opportunity right there. And as we work our way up, we do have pocket screwed lumber core cabinetry. We do have magnet holdbacks, but it is all a pretty conventional grade because at the end of the day, that's basically what Springdale and Hideout make. They make conventional RVs for conventional purposes. This just happens to be a rather unconventional floor plan. And it sure does clean up the clutter real quick when I close up all the kitchen stuff. Remember, we stepped downstairs to get to the lower bathroom. The bathroom, a little bit tricky for me to do what I do here because it is a swinging door. It's hard for me to get you good shower footage, so I may actually have to look at that in a little bit of wide-angle lens mode, which I don't like. But when you actually get in the RV, it's not problematic at all because they did leave you plenty of floor space. You can walk in, close the door behind you, sit down, have a good time. Speaking of sitting down, see me sitting on the toilet over here. And I'm not trying to do that to be funny for anyone that's kind of curious. I'm trying to show you what a human-sized person actually looks like in there. Now, this little funny countertop right here, it might be a nice spot to keep some extra toilet paper rolls or air freshener or something, but it's also the top of the only exterior storage compartment on the RV. And because we have a loft above us, they had to go with a side mount vent fan, basically just like a truck camper. And in case you're curious, it actually does have a central air duct system that goes down through the loft to directly pump here into the bathroom. So this isn't going to be a a hot, smelly box for you. And I kind of thought going over it live like this, as opposed to doing my bathroom vertical footage like I normally do, would be the best way to get to see all the bathroom storage. Because I've got to move the camera around enough. And I didn't want to make people like motion sick and stuff. Okay, that's really tall. And I was looking for a hanging rod in there. It's really tall. And I almost wish there was one more set of shelves. I don't know. What would you use that space for? Do you like the fact that it doesn't have, what do I want to say? My brain stopped. A shelf in the bottom, or would you prefer it to have a shelf in the bottom? I don't know. But overall, I think the bathroom storage is really, really awesome. Trick is, again, it's hard for me to show you the shower. So we are just going to be right up here, up close and personal to it now. This puts the camera's microphone right next to my loud booming voice, so I'm consciously trying not to blow you headphone users out of the water right now. Just like a bigger fifth wheel, though. They do go with a large rectangular shower that actually does have a corner seat over there, so if Uncle Gary needs to prop his leg up to shave his shins, he does have the space to do that. However, most builders who make a layout like this, I can't stand in the shower, or I barely can, and the fuzz on the top of my scalp scrapes the ceiling panel. Well, if you look over on the left, I did not have that problem in here. This is the best, most user-friendly, functional shower space I've personally seen in one of these pretend tiny homes yet. Also, if you are in the shower and the water's not hot enough or too hot or something, you can actually adjust the temperature of that right over here. And that will affect the whole house, but you at least have that ability. Like if you want a hotter shower, but then you want to tone it down for kitchen use, you just bump it when you come in, bump it down when you leave. Something else I noticed, the door's fully framed out. We don't have the peekaboo, I smell you kind of bathroom door. And normally, this is the time in the video where I'd talk about road mode. I don't think that applies to this RV. I don't think this is the kind of thing that's intended to be used. It's not really built and engineered to be towed around. Structurally, it's not that it can't handle it. It's just that it's so top heavy and so blocky and such a windbreaker in the front of this thing. These do not tow nicely. So it's definitely the kind of camper like you could absolutely pull into a Walmart parking lot and use the whole thing because there's no slides. Like the whole thing's totally accessible and functional. Certainly, especially with the camper door over here. That makes for an easy little travel stop. But it's the kind of RV really made for getting there and leaving there. But I don't know. I'm sure there's some people who will want to tow this thing around on the weekend. Again, I don't think that's going to be a pleasant experience, but it's your money and it's maybe your life on the line. And I'm just trying to keep you safe and keep you comfortable. You know, if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button and we'll hop outdoors. And if you take a look at the bottom of the screen, you're going to get a look at the weights and measures here. And I do want to talk about towing this weirdo McMonster that we have in front of us right here. Because I'm personally not really convinced this is an RV that should be towed regularly. When I talk to the RV delivery drivers who bring these here, and keep in mind, my hometown superstore here in southern Michigan is maybe an hour away from where these things are built. So the RV delivery drivers that I see have not towed them very far. And even in that short distance, they're like, oh, I hate towing these things. This is not made for moving. It is a big, flat brick that's actually bigger and flatter in the front because we're actually looking at the back end of this sucker right here. And we're there's a tongue-in-cheek joke in there, but I don't feel like having to report to HR today. Working our way up here. If you notice, it actually is the entire living area is a drop frame. The underbelly is enclosed. It is heated. This isn't pretending to be some kind of mega Four Seasons Arctic camper or anything like that. I'm glad I popped down here. I was kind of curious as to where the spare tire was located. It's under the deck. Now, the chassis actually does go all the way under the rear patio deck lounging space, but you might notice they didn't put any sort of tie downs or anything like that on there. Again, first of all, this thing does not tow very nicely. And secondly, if you go slapping a couple 100 pounds of cargo or some kind of motorcycle or ATV or something on the back of that, it's going to be a rolling death trap. With the extra weight dead on the tail of this sucker, because weight behind the axles tows worse than weight in the front, it's going to be a scary proposition. So I hope you appreciate, I'm telling you a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't buy this thing, because I don't want to get you killed just to make a quick sale, you know? The fact that they actually included a power awning on this, though, I can't think of another builder of these little pretendish tiny home kind of things that has done that, or one that has given us a traditional camper RV entry door. And I feel like this is something that someone's either going to be like, yes, finally, this is what I've been looking for, or they're going to be like, that's stupid, there's a door in the back, why do I need a door there? I don't know. I don't know how people are going to interpret this. I will say, I do like this. It looks like maybe a galvanized or a powder-coated aluminum, if I'm not mistaken, kind of raised graphic decal accent molding thing. I'm not, obviously, I don't know the words, but it does give it a cool look. It also kind of looks like Special K cereal, now that I'm staring at it. But look at the front of this thing. It's a big, flat, I mean, it's literally the opposite of what you want in terms of the shape for towing. But for some campsites, it's the perfect layout. Like if you back into the site and you stare back at the campgrounds, or not the campgrounds, at the lake or something, this might be absolutely ideal. Now, you do have a big blank canvas on here. I'm going to do something dangerous, and I'm going to give the internet a fill in the blank. What would you decorate on the front of this thing given the opportunity? Although, for like, if you're one of those folks that goes all out for like Halloween decorations on your campsite, I think that could be cool. I was actually kind of surprised to see 30-pound propane tanks instead of 20s on here, which pleasantly surprised, not disappointed. This is another thing I think is kind of interesting. By default, this has power tongue jack and power corner stabilizers. And were this any common travel trailer, I would say that's great. But this is something that's basically designed to get there and set there. So there's money involved in those features that, for the most part, I feel would go unused. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I do want to give you some food for thought to think about that a little bit here. Food for thought to think about it. I'm such an idiot. They have maintained their tankless on-demand water heater. What? I want to say this is a 42,000 BTU variety. Where? Yep, right there. If you're ever curious, here, let me teach you how to fish. Open your tankless water heater door, and there's a sticker right there. It tells you 42,000 BTU. Some are 42,000, some are 60,000. Why am I talking about this? 42,000 BTU tankless on-demand water heaters can raise the temperature coming in from the park or in the holding tanks, because this is technically still a fully self-contained RV, up to 40 degrees. What that kind of means is that this is going to be better in the fairer weather. Now, a 60,000 BTU tankless on-demand water heater can raise the water 59 degrees. Basically, 40,000 BTU, 40 degrees. 60,000 BTU, pretty much 60 degrees. Not technically, but close. So, if you're looking for something for earlier spring and later fall, you may want a more powerful output on your water heater. If you're like summer camping, this is going to treat you fine. I do like how our water heater and our furnace exhaust are over here on the poop side of the camper. It does have separate outlets here for black and gray. I was kind of confused. Maybe there's a reason they weren't able to tie these together. I'm not entirely sure. And the way, now that I'm looking at this, it makes me wonder if your bathroom shower and sink actually drain into the bathroom gray tank. I'm wondering that. I'm not knowing that. If that's important to you, because I know for some folks that's a big deal, you may want to investigate that before you contact one of our stores. I'm guessing this gray tank over here is dedicated for the kitchen and potentially the washer dryer unit if you install those. Again, that's a little bit of a guess. And you might be wondering, well, why doesn't he know this stuff? Because manufacturers don't give us a guide that tells us what hooks up to what tanks. It's just, I've been doing this for a while. I have a pretty good bead on how manufacturers do things and why, and I'm estimating that's what they're doing here. Now, in a normal, like, Hideout DLX or, Springdale, you would have a 220 watt solar package. Since these are really designed to be plugged in full time with park hookups, they are not built with default solar. It is still solar prepped. Actually, I need to get you up in that front compartment up there. I walked right past it. And the reason I think it's important to get up here is because one of the tricks with these pretend tiny homes is their outside storage comes in two forms: jack and squat. Because that's all she wrote right there. Obviously, someone did a dynamite job wrapping up this 50 amp power cord reel. It is tire pressure monitor prepped, because basically they can throw that on from the factory essentially free. The prep doesn't really cost them a whole lot. But you can see how it's prepped for inverter, it's prepped for a charge controller, but it's prepped for, I think at most, about 440 watts of solar before you have to change out wiring, and up to a 2,000 watt inverter. If you wanted to park this in the middle of nowhere, boondock off-grid with it, you could. You've got a ton of available roof line up there, but you're going to have to pretty much custom DIY your own solar package. Now, that is stuff that we can do for you at Bish's RV. It's just a matter of what you're thinking and how you're thinking you want to do it. So let me know what you think, everybody. Again, I don't feel these are something that are really ideal for towing, but if you've got a lake site, a seasonal site, maybe you just don't want to have to go through the residential permit building to have like a place for your kid to move out. So at Bish's RV, we have the Go Play series. Maybe you're trying to tell your kid to go away. Maybe that's something that could work for you in this. I don't know. Again, I'm going to leave you two links for pricing and availability in the video description. One for Springdale's version, one for Hideout's version. They're the same physical camper, just a different exterior look and two different model numbers, so I need to give you two links. And I will also dig you up some links to where I've done the Cherokee and the Catalina versions of a camper pretend tiny home thing like this. If you get a chance, check out one or both of those and let me know which one you go with and why if your money was on the line. I'd be curious to kind of know what you like and dislike about them. So until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.